To record really good and high quality audio at a wedding, I have 4 recorders that I take with me, and the first of which being the primary Zoom F3. Great thing about this guy is that it's 32-bit float, so there's pretty much no chance of it peaking there. So I just love that flexibility, that peace of mind. So that's my primary. And the backup, just in case that fails, is my Zoom H4n Pro. I've had this for a really long time. I don't ever pull it out, but in case something happens to the Zoom, I have a backup. Next up, we have the trusty old Tascam DR10Ls. I have 2 of these guys. And lastly, we have the Sony TX660. This one is very handy for like the handheld microphones. You can pretty much just Velcro it on top or use one of these sleeves and just use it that way. But just in case everything else fails, you still have the last final backup right on top of the microphone, right in front of the speaker. So there's pretty much no chance of failure anywhere in this kit. One thing you can obviously tell is that these are all wired solutions, and I personally don't have any wireless audio equipment for my wedding films, and here are 3 reasons why. First, and the biggest reason being that DJs are just starting to catch on that these wireless recorders are causing interference with their wireless microphones. And a DJ is someone I really don't want to piss off at a wedding because they have a huge say in what my final product's gonna look like because they control the audio and they control the lighting. And if I'm causing them trouble, they're just not going to let me hook up to any of their equipment, which is a no-go. And audio is just such a big part of the wedding film experience, so I do my best to not piss off DJs. And I've had 4 different DJs just in this year ask me if any of my equipment is using wireless stuff, because if it is, they just wouldn't let me hook up to any of their DJ boards or hook up with their microphone, anything at all. Anything wireless was pretty much a no-go. The number one thing that I look for in my wedding video equipment is reliability, because weddings are already so stressful and I don't want to have to worry about, my equipment on top of everything else. So I just need equipment that does its job and doesn't cause me any other issues. And if my equipment is causing me trouble with another vendor, that's just a no-go. As a videographer, a DJ is a very important vendor for me, and I just can't afford to piss them off. So if a DJ doesn't want me to use wireless audio, that's how it's gonna be. I won't do it. Next up is the constant fear of dropouts. And in theory, wireless audio sounds great. You have a lav mic on the groom or the bride, and you have your camera 30-40 feet away, let's say, at the end of the aisle at a big church, and perfectly your audio is already synced in your camera, ready to go. But in most cases, you're gonna have dropout here and there. And if that is your only source of audio, that's just a problem. Nowadays, to counteract that, most of the newer wireless audio recorders have like internal backups on the transmitters, which is great, but then you're just syncing audio again anyways. So to me, it just defeats the point, and I would rather just have something that's more reliable, that's not going to give me any issues, it's going to safely record everything internally, and I know my one source of audio is just safe. I've personally had this Tascam DR10L for 4+ years, and I've just had no issues with it whatsoever. The auto leveler on this is great, it has a hard limiter built in, it also records a safety track, so in case something goes wrong, you have a backup that's 12 decibels lower than the main track. And honestly, I've just literally never had any peaking issues with this. So I really don't see a reason to get rid of this and upgrade to something else. The only reason I might upgrade to the 10L Pros is just for the improved battery life. But other than that, when it comes to feature set, this is everything I need. Lastly, we have replaceable batteries. And mind you, this is not a big reason, but it definitely is a reason, and it should be on your list as well. And it's just that this Zoom, this Tascam, and my other Zoom, they all have replaceable AA, AAA batteries. And a battery is just something that's gonna give out first on pretty much any piece of tech. And the fact that I can just replace them and then these are as good as new is a big plus, and that just means all of these are gonna last me a really long time. Mind you, something can go wrong with like the motherboard, the circuits, the internal wiring. A lot of other things can go wrong, but like I mentioned, I've had these Tascams for 4+ years now, no issues, and I feel like a replaceable battery has a lot to do with that. That is the one thing that does worry me about the Sony. It's because it's got an internal battery. So I really don't think this is going to last me as long as my Tascams. but majority of my equipment here has replaceable batteries, and most of these wireless audio recorders from Hollyland, from Rode, from DJI, they all have like internal batteries that you can't do anything about. So as a consumer, I feel like replaceable batteries is just a big win and is really going to make your equipment last that much longer. If you found this video interesting and you want to know what else I take with me to film weddings, click on this video right here and I'll see you there.